This element of the topic on applied ethics is concerned with giving you some more specific information regarding Christian views on sex and relationships. It makes sense to begin by looking at these views regarding the purpose of marriage because you obviously could get a question about it, but in addition it's important because it feeds the views that Christians may hold on other related issues such as divorce, sex before marriage, adultery, homosexuality and civil partnerships and same-sex marriage. If you know the material in this film, you'll find it much easier to answer any questions meaningfully. Since the course was designed, the laws in the UK have changed regarding marriage. In the UK, marriage was previously defined in 1866 in a single case, as you see on the screen. And this was specifically in accordance with the denomination of the Church of England, known as Anglicanism. It was also acceptable to the Roman Catholic Church as well. It is important that we begin by understanding that this ideal is traditional and biblical. It relates back to Genesis, at the creation of humanity when God created man and woman and said that man should leave his father and his mother, be joined with his wife, and the two should become one flesh. Throughout the Bible, this created order has been affirmed and reaffirmed. Sex is seen to be a part of marriage, a gift for the married couple in order to procreate, and also as a duty to each other. In the New Testament, St. Paul says that a man and a woman should not deprive each other except by mutual agreement, and then only for a short time. They should then come back together again in order to ensure purity. It is vital that purity is maintained in and out of marriage, and so, if unmarried, celibacy was encouraged. St. Paul said that indeed it was better to remain celibate and unmarried as he was, but that if a couple wished to have sex, then they should marry. This is to avoid lust, in his words, to avoid burning with passion. The married couple should have sex with each other in order to maintain their self-control. Of course, for Thomas Aquinas, the primary precepts say that procreation or reproduction is the superior aim of sex. This he arrived at via reason. However, he still valued partnership and pleasure as subordinate aims, and this is still the official view of the Roman Catholic Church today. However, if we use the reasoning of Fletcher, we might challenge this, and denominations like the Quakers or Society of Friends might be inclined to do so. Here the role of marriage is more than just procreation, and it may or may not be just a very small part of it. Marriage has a number of different functions according to the Christian Church. Priority might be placed on some aspects over others depending on things like which denomination the Christian comes from and other issues as well. Procreation is often seen as being the primary reason for marriage, but as you can see from the screen, several other purposes may be present too. Ultimately, the purpose of marriage within the churches is to act as a covenant. This is a promise or commitment that goes three ways and is not purely between a man and a wife, but also before God too. This is sometimes expressed in a diagram like this that you can see on the screen. Here you can see that this three-way relationship is stronger than a two-way one. The Christian Church would argue that where the man and wife may have difficulties, they are supported by the Creator. Equally, where the man or wife's relationship with God is shaky or undergoing challenges, it can be supported via the marriage. And in this way, this relationship can be maintained as strong and stable. Marriage is a sacrament, which is a holy spiritual rite, and this is more than just a ritual, but instead reflects an indissoluble spiritual bond between a couple and God. This covenant or promise is binding and absolute, and in the marriage service it says, "What God has joined together, let no one put asunder." This sacrament then cannot be understated. It is traditionally held as the framework upon which a stable society is based, where children can be raised, taught, and helped to be future good husbands and wives. This very biblical ideal has been held up in tradition in the Roman Catholic Church ever since, and is reflected clearly in natural law. However, whilst the Quakers still value marriage very highly and perform weddings, they are more likely to feel that a marriage should be between God and the couple rather than decided by society. This is important as it paves the way for a less traditional view on marriage in the future. In fact, in 2014, the law became practice in the UK that marriage should be open to same-gender couples rather than just man and woman, and the Quaker Church have been very supportive of this. They have already been seen performing blessings of same-gender couples before the change in the law, but have since performed church ceremonies. Meanwhile, the Roman Catholic Church had opted to remain firmly with tradition. This will be explored in more detail later on, but they argue that such acts require a redefinition of marriage, which would move away from the biblical and traditional ideals. The law in the UK is not necessarily the same law throughout the rest of the world.